Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Triangle Hustle podcast, where life, hustle, and construction collide in the heart of California. I'm your host, Lila Dawn.
And I'm Rocio Luna. Whether you're swinging hammers or closing deals, this show is built for people that want to level up in business and life.
That's right. So from the job site to the boardroom, we're bringing you real talk, real challenges, and my favorite, real wins. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Triangle Hustle podcast. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, and mental health is huge. I could come in right now, like everybody, I just look normal, but I have like my world's falling apart, but you'll never know because I'm the type of person who will never tell anyone saying, hey, I'm having a bad day. And that's just my personality. You'll never know. It's like the job's going to get done with a smile on my face.
But I do think it's a big topic.
And actually, I've taken a bigger step into following up my friends because everybody has problems. And actually, it goes more to me because of last year, just because I've had a couple of people around me who have gone through some really bad things. And I questioned myself, am I really a friend if I didn't follow up and keep up or didn't ask about it? Because I think we all have problems. We just mask it differently. So I want to get your intake, Lila and Frank, about mental health.
Well, it's key, right? Our mind is the computer of our being. And like we talked about the triangle, right? The body, the mind, and the spirit. And, our mental health directly affects, how we feel, how we think, and then ultimately how we act. And to me, being mentally healthy is sometimes more important than even going to the gym and trying to be physically healthy. Because if your thoughts are negative, or if you're going through something where you can't you can't even control your thoughts because something just happened and you're just there and like you just said, you go to work and nobody knows that whatever just happened at home, something like really traumatic that's going to affect your thinking ability, and you go and like you said, and you just business as usual. I just love the way it's called mental awareness or mental health awareness, because being aware of where we are mentally is key. I love the way you said, check up on people, see how they're doing, especially if something traumatic just happened. Success, again, yes, we get up, we go and we make money, but I think we should all have 10 minutes a day to just choose one of our friends or one of our family members to say, hey, what's up, how you doing today? Or if somebody went through something. I've had some friends who just went through some traumatic experiences where you definitely want to go the extra mile and go and be there, because trauma can also, make you isolate, or now you can't even wake up. It can get really serious.
Yeah. Especially with like people like us, business owners, high performers, we put everybody's needs before us. And I'm guilty of that. It's been almost 3 years. It was almost 3 years since I scheduled my physical appointment for like my own physical test. And it's like, little things like that. It's like, okay, why, I left that all behind, but I'm the most important person. And I found myself doing that too. Like I sacrifice, I put someone else's needs before me. And I think it's at a certain level, we're all guilty of that, especially as a mom too. You have, and as a grandma, you have now 3 generations, you have a family.
Yeah.
So I always say, be nice to everybody, because you never know what people are going on.
Yeah.
A smile, it doesn't cost you anything.
Yep.
And just treating everybody with respect. And if you know someone, because you could tell when someone has a sense that they want to talk, listen to them. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes people just want to be listened. They don't
Yep.
need your advice. They just want to be heard.
Absolutely.
This is a subject near and dear to my heart. I promised Lila that I would be brutally honest on this show and give her everything I got. And I'm not going to hijack your show, but you asked if I would talk a little bit about what recently transpired, and I will. Trauma, right? We're talking about trauma and mental health issues. Back in 2014, I suffered some trauma. It was relationship based, and I coped with that through alcohol. And from 2014 through 2017, I decided to drown my sorrows in whiskey or beer or whatever the case, right? Subsequently, it affected me in the sense that alcohol and I don't mix. We just don't mix. It's a poison to me because it takes away who I am and everything that I've worked hard for, and that's always, we talk about having struggles and having things and nobody's perfect. That's always been one of my things. And recently I fell ill to that curse due to a relationship and a breakup, right? Because the reality is that when I am good, I have to be good on the physical, spiritual, and mental side, right? The triangle.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm good, I'm working my program. And when I'm good, I am going to therapy. And when I'm good, I am close to God. And when those three things are together, I could do anything and everything. About 5 months ago, I walked away from those things. I was working out with who I thought was a friend of mine, and I started taking some supplements that I shouldn't be taking, and it altered my mentality.
Mm.
I got into a fight with the ex over a stupid ass issue, but by this time, my ego had already taken over, and my mind wasn't mind anymore.
From the supplements, you think?
Yeah.
Oh.
Absolutely. Talking to my doctor and my newly found therapist,
Yeah, chemicals mix. So
Yeah.
everybody's
So
brains are different.
So there goes the ego, there goes everything, right? So there goes everything out the door. And the first thing that I do is reach out for a bottle. And I think that was a mistake. A mistake on my part because before then everything was great.
You think you reached out for the bottle because of the supplements as well?
I think so.
Wow.
And
Okay.
according to the doc and the therapist, you're riding so high on this egotistical thing that on my normal side, I'd be able to control certain things, certain emotions, right? Because we're all emotional creatures. At the end of the day, it is my fault because I went down that path and I made that choice, due to my addictive behavior. But I'm back in therapy. I'm back in my program, and I'm very close to God now. And you talk about check-ins, man. Everybody checked in, right? I have the greatest support group that I don't even think I'm worthy of, including you two.
Including that I would check in and he never texts me back.
I didn't. I was going through a lot. But hey, going back, it is extremely important. And I'm sharing my story because if there's someone out there who could relate, and there's someone out there, you're not alone, man. If you've made mistakes, if you've shit the bed, it happens. And
shit happens.
Yeah. And some would say, you get different versions of my personality, and when we're going through something like that, I don't believe that those experiences necessarily define you, because the person that I am when I'm good on all three spectrums is dynamic, and I love that version of myself. I love the guy that wakes up at 4:30. I love that guy that helps, that's caring, that's nurturing. That's who I really am.
That's right.
And for that, I'm through the program and through my therapy, there are some amends that are going to be made, and hopefully that clears the air with some of the people that I hurt, but I take full accountability for my actions. And shout out to the ex. You're a beautiful, great person.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I wish you nothing but the best.
Yeah, I love the accountability part. I love the making amends part, which equals, right, forgiveness and going back and telling somebody I'm sorry, because it does lift, like they say, it clears the dust in the air when you see them again, and it just gives you emotional relief, like.
Well,
you
we
can
hope,
smile
right?
bigger, and it's
for now. This all consists of me. For now, it's time to be a little selfish, and just like Rocio, having being in charge of a lot, doing a lot, working a lot, and having, that high profile title and the high profile job, you kind of tend to not practice self-care, right? We all kind of disregard ourselves and not really love ourselves to the extent that we need to. And that's what I'm discovering now. So it's time to be a little selfish. So Rocio knows my whole story, and she knows Monday through Thursday I'm getting my ass kicked by these youngsters in jiu-jitsu. And when I'm not there, I'm working out. And when I'm not there, I'm working my program. And when I'm not with my program, I'm talking to a counselor. Marisol has forbidden me to date.
I say give it a year.
Yeah.
Right, Marisol?
And it's not even on my mind.
Healing era.
Funny story. I got this cleaning lady, and she's super hot.
Ooh.
And
she knows how to clean.
While I had a girlfriend, she
cook?
invited me to coffee, so I fired her because I'm not the cheating type, man.
I know.
And but now, she came over to clean the other day, and the same thing. And then I ended up sending this text.
To who?
To the cleaning lady.
Oh.
So I'm sorry, I appreciate the invitation, but I'm not in the space to entertain anybody, much less, And I'm just not.
It's good. That's good that you are aware that, timing is a little off right now.
It is. But, I got a lot of things to work on personally, but I'm in the right direction. I know what I have to do. And again, I'm going to get there. And even today, this morning in my workout, I just knew I'm going to be all right.
Yeah.
For
I
sure.
mean, we've all experienced heartbreaks. We know what it feels like. We know the feeling of heartbreak, whether it's breaking up your boyfriend, a divorce, an almost divorce, splitting up, and then coming back together. We all know how hard that is when that, the person that you sleep next to in love, they hurt you. So we've all experienced that negativity, because I think love is probably probably the top one, because it's also love from your family members, siblings,
your children.
Yeah, your children. Yeah, your children. And then I would say probably like financial would probably be the next one.
Very heavy stressor. For
financial is
sure.
more fear, because now you're like, oh my God, like how am I going to put food on the table? And that brings someone else that's worried, mad, anxiety. And then, but going back to heartbreak, I think that just kind of you just feel, you feel like you lost a part of yourself because you've been with that person for a while, or you have experienced things that you only experience with that person, overcome trauma with that person, grown together, gone through the next stage. And when they leave, it's like you leave a part of yourself. But like Frank said, when you love someone, you forgive them and you wish them nothing but the best. And even if they messed you up, even if it's like going, because like I have tons of friends that have gone through nasty divorces, like children in custody, properties being split, business being split apart, people fighting over their mom's death. And it's crazy. But even going through all of that, it's better to be the bigger person and just say, okay, like accepting it. Because if you fight back, okay, we know that divorce is never going to get settled. Now we're like 3 years in, more money. The only people that are getting richer are the attorneys.
Yeah. And you're talking about divorce. A lot of people say divorce is like a death, and so I have two experiences where I feel that I went through, a mental health issue in my life, where, because mental toughness, like they say, comes from like upbringing. If you have a tough upbringing, you grow up to be mentally tough. If you have where everything is made easy for you, when you're an adult, it's hard because you're not like mentally tough, right? So for me personally, addiction was a part of my life, unfortunately, in my 20s and then again in my 40s. And when I got sober, I was, using methamphetamine at the time. It messes with your brain, your dopamine, so I remember, life circumstances, I got sober. The good Lord helped me and I got sober. But that first year of sobriety, oh God, my thinking, my depression, no dopamine, like, oh God, it's so dark, it's so boring, and all this stuff. But if you become aware, like, I need to start doing this, for myself, going to the gym, going to therapy, and then you start to get better mentally. And then, then you benefit physically. So that was one. Addiction is a big deal where I felt that mental health issue journey. And then, when I lost my son, it was a whole different level of mental health, because as you guys know me, fucking A personality, get up, energy. Even in my older age, I still have this drive. And when that happened, I can't even explain in words like what happened, because at first your brain can't even register that thought. Like, you're still in denial. Like, what the fuck just happened here? Like, it's not real. Like, it's just these things that happen. First, you feel it like that, just the shock, where your brain, like I said, I'm no psychologist, I don't know, but oh shit. And then you sleep, and then you don't even want to wake up. Like, your brain itself, it's so traumatized, it just doesn't even want to turn on. So for 3 months, the workaholic type A personality, I didn't work. I did not care all of a sudden that I had team, I had business, I had customers. It was such an emptiness, or so dark, where it was like, at one point I was like, I'm screwed. Yeah, I'm screwed. But again, the good Lord and the awareness, like, wait a minute, no. Switching again the thought, like, my son wants me to get my ass up and start, come on, or my husband, the children, the effect. But again, I'm like the type, even at home, the one, hey, what are you doing in bed, right? You can't get up, all glory to God, because it's like, you need this higher power. It's so freaking dark there, and so impossibly traumatic. And then, of course, because it still has to make sense, you have to do, like, let me get up this morning and start with prayer and start with something that I'm grateful for, so that I could, because we have like 2 antennas, the positive antenna and the negative antenna, and we have the choice of, like they say, we have the power to change that thought. Like, don't even think about it. Or like, or like, if you're reading something, you can't shut off the brain or whatever. It's like, okay, be aware, change the thought. And now I'm coming up on 5 years. And the crazy part about it is, going through that journey, I feel like a little higher level of more like chingonaness now. And only because that trauma was so hard, that whatever it did to my brain, I feel like it recalibrated it. Yeah. And not that I'm not in pain anymore, and not that I'm not lost the fact that my son is gone. But again, my mind, my thinking is different about what my reality is and what I'm going to do with it now. And putting purpose into the pain and the healing and all this stuff, you feel like you're honoring and you're doing something good. So
it's funny you say that, because I've had fallouts before. This isn't the only time. And every time I've lost something, but every time I've gained something. And every time I build back better. There's always something better about me when I come back.
Better. I love that.
And this time it's more spiritual, because in the process and through the group and therapy and my program, I used to think I got to carry this shit. Yeah, I'm going to carry it forever. Fuck it. I fucked up, resentment of the whole 9 yards. But recently I'm just going to give it to God. Hey, Flo, I'm tired of carrying this shit. Guess what? I got a gift for you. But it's true, because you got to let it go, right? You got to let it go. There's nothing I can do about the past. But there's definitely something I can do about tomorrow. The future. And that's so right. my drive now is to become a better version than I was yesterday.
That's right.
And then I wake up tomorrow and I try and do better than the day before.
That's right. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, you're using your pain right now for this purpose, this whole podcast wouldn't have not come out without the loss. And I don't have any children, but I could only imagine 1% of what you felt. And I'm sure you could only imagine because you have 2 children.
I wouldn't even want to imagine. I could only your strength for doing this as a father. I that having even just thinking about the possibility of me having a baby, it would probably kill me.
That's what I thought.
And,
First year for sure.
So and I have twin boys. Yeah, they're 25 now, but man, I've seen them grow up, and I love them to death. And one of them's still mad at me.
Is he?
Yeah, a little bit. He'll come around. He works for me, that little fucker.
Oh, him. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That's probably why it's hard
So,
working with our children's.
Yeah, but kudos to you, Leela, and everything you've done, because through this, just me joining a little late, but just being here. And I was worried about this mental health episode because of what I've recently been through. But after the conversation that we just had, I do feel a little bit better. So you're doing a lot of great things for me on a personal level, and for many others, I think, that are going to listen. So I think this is all great. And I think that things happen for a reason. You were meant to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's a lot of mothers and people out there that have lost their children. For mothers that are going through this experiencing or even having problems with their children right now, for their children's mental health. Or maybe substance abuse, what advice do you give to a mom?
Well, for a mother who has lost their child, and I don't care how you've lost your child, there's no words in the beginning. None. I don't want to hear he's in a better place. I don't want to hear none of it. I just want in the beginning, just, it's almost like you want to be, left alone. But I do say more than anything is hold on to the higher power, because it's a situation where if you don't grasp onto something that's more powerful than what exists, you can stay in that darkness for a really long time. Like I said, I was at home for 3 months. I could have made it 3 years if I really just wanted to stay in that thought and not want to get better, because I do have other children and I do have family that loves me and I do have a lot of reasons to still want to live. But healing doesn't happen in isolation. Reach out. People that, when you have the same pain, like I lost my child, you lost your child, there's a special connection right there, because we totally understand what happened, and we can be there for each other in a way that somebody that hasn't gone through it just won't be able to make that same connection. Healing happens through support, through other people that have gone through what you've been through. So, and I don't remember the exact day, but I think it was either 3 weeks after it happened, and my son brought me a phone number from an organization called Solace for Hope, which is an organization for people that have lost their children, whether it's suicide or mental illness, anything, just losing your child. And I was so desperate. I remember it was a Sunday night, and I dialed the number, and Maggie, who's the leader of Solace, answered the phone on a Sunday night. It was like 9:00 at night. And she lost her son, I think it's 15 years ago, to an overdose. And she found him at home.
Oh.
So when I told her what happened, we were on the phone for like 45 minutes, and I could feel her hugs and her energy and her understanding coming through the phone. It was amazing. And, I go there to this day, and it was 2020. So it was COVID. So everything was online. So me and my husband, we just waited, and you could say it like, what happened? And it was fentanyl, and whether my son was an addict or not, he didn't want to die. He didn't do it on purpose. It was an accident. And they all understood my frustration and all of that. And at first, in the first year, it's pain and you're crying. And then you start seeing other people come in. Like after we were a year after it happened, and other people started to come in that were only a week old in their pain or a month old in their pain. And all of a sudden now you have something in you where you want to be there for them. And it was so key to the healing process of what you can get from an organization like that. And I have another friend who was like, I don't like to go to those because why am I going to rehash my pain? But it's not to come and rehash your pain. It's come to be with somebody else that understands what kind of a day you're having, because some days are great, and then the birthdays come around and things get a little bit tougher. But what gets really fulfilling is when you get the new people coming in and now you want to help them.
Mm-hmm.
And something about helping others is so powerful in the healing process.
Yeah.
Now, there's so many of us, because fentanyl was the number one killer in this country from the ages of 18 to 45 years old. And if you think about that for a minute, 18 to 45 years old, that age group usually still have their mom and dads. People at 45 years old usually still have their mom and dad. So if it's the number one killer in our country, imagine all the grief, all the parents in that age group that are alive right now grieving. The dark cloud that nobody sees that's out there. And I sure hope that everybody's out getting the support so that you can heal. Because if you don't, believe me, what was 3 months for me can be 3 years for somebody else. And the Lord is there. He gave his son. He volunteered his kid for us, us that losing. So nobody understands more than losing a child than, of course, God himself. And what's just as painful sometimes is when we have our kids and they're suffering from anxiety, depression, substance abuse, because a lot of the children are already older. Right? It's not like you have a young child and stop doing that or you're going to be in trouble. I'm going to put you in the corner. No, you're dealing with adult children. And oh my God, it's such a stressor, because when you're dealing with other adults, you know what's best for them, you know what they should be doing, and you want them to do it. But for some reason they can't, whatever is in the way. And at that point, again, I give it to God. Give it to God. Please, Lord, help, my child. Please, Lord, because as parents, sometimes the resentments, the main ones, are against you.
Yeah.
And you want to help them. And they're like, I don't want to hear shit from you. So then you got to realize like, oh, there's the resentment there. So let them go get the therapy. Please, Lord, let them get the therapy they need. And then when they're ready to deal with what's going on here, I'm ready, Lord, because, hey, I want them. And all we want is for them to get better.
Yeah.
But man, it's a struggle.
Oh, yeah.
Drug dealers are friendly, but they're not your friends. Drug dealers are friendly, but they're not your friends. They'll take your money and they'll take your soul, make you forget just how to get back home. Who you become, well, you just don't know. 626-831 and 905. It's 4 a.m. and we're looking for one more life, because this can't stop. We can run, but we can't hide. I don't wanna die. Drug dealers are friendly, but they're not your friends. Drug dealers are friendly, but they're not your friends.
There's a lot of similarities with the program that you ran and the program that I'm running, and it's through Kaiser, right? It's through Kaiser, and they have a special unit called addiction medicine, And when you register in there, it's kind of like a 3-pronged attack, right? You got therapy, you got the health aspect, and then they send you to these AA classes. And that's where the group component comes in, because you're absolutely 1,000% right. When you have an issue, it is rare for someone to really cure it on their own. And I remember the first time walking into one of these classes, and I'm like, "Fuck, am I really like this bad?
I'm not like
man?
them.
I'm like this bad. Like, am I really this fucked up? Like, I don't want to be this fucked up. I'm out of here." But it's funny because when I walk in, and someone's like, "Damn, bro, you look like shit," but you're at the right place, motherfucker. You're in the right place. And he goes, "I'm gonna fucking love you until you learn to love yourself."
That's powerful.
That's just that.
That's what God says.
I'm gonna love you till you learn to love yourself. And we're gonna work on some things, and we're gonna get some things out of you, and we're gonna put you on the right path.
Yeah. And we need that.
And it's
That's
a room.
That's
it's
why
a room
God
full
made
of,
Eve
and,
for Adam.
Yeah.
Can't
And then
be
you're
by
in there, and
myself.
I'm listening to these fools, and I'm like, "Damn, I'm not even that fucked up. There's people more fucked up than me. Seriously, more
All the
fucked up
time.
than me."
Always.
But,
Yeah.
you know,
But at the
I don't
same
belong
time,
here. They're nuts, not me, right?
but at the same time, we share one common problem,
Yeah.
right? One disease, and it's good because it's beneficiary. So if anybody's out there struggling with substance abuse, go to Kaiser. They got some answers for you.
That's good.
it sometimes it's hard too as a one person to accept your own faults, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to come to realization. Oh, am I the problem, or do I have a problem? And that takes sometimes hitting rock bottom to realize, okay, I'm the problem. Or if you're lucky, because some people don't have the luck where they have a supportive family. Sometimes people have to do it on their own. So if you don't have that support on that, but you feel like you want to change, because everybody, like nobody likes feeling like I'm a piece of shit right now. There gets to a point, because I'm talking from experience. There gets to a point where like, okay, I'm tired of being a piece of shit. I want to change it, because you're just like, okay, well, like I don't want to repeat doing the same thing, being around the same bad people, doing all of this. And I think coming back to both of you guys' perspective, having a support group is huge, because I didn't have that. So when you go through it on your own, you're just like kind of going through the winds, and then life knocks you out hard, and as we kind of learn, you're like, okay, I think this is rock bottom over here.
Yeah.
So I kind of just have to like maneuver my way out into that. But once you come out of it, I do think you're a lot wiser, and you could connect people, right? You could connect with the person that's gone through that same trauma, that same problem.
Companies now are realizing that mental health again is very important.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that some companies may even now do some special training, like for their management level, on how to be a little bit more emotionally intelligent, to be able to read somebody, and ask that question, how you doing today? Is everything okay at home? Everything, good? Because like you said, sometimes people just want to say things and feel that somebody cares. And when you get that in the workplace, it's key to the health of your employees and how they perform, and how, and what they bring to the table. I think people even have mental health days. Is that something? Is that a thing right now?
Yeah, some companies offer a couple of days where you get to say, you know what, I'm carrying a lot. I'm not in the right headspace. I'm going to go home and I'm going to chill. And they allow you to do that. We don't.
But yeah.
You could take a day off, a personal day, but it's something to look at, right? Because we've recently been talking about culture. How do we improve culture?
Yeah.
How do we improve the dynamic? And that might be something we're going to look at, right?
Yeah.
So, and it is becoming more and more of a hot topic across the board, and you see it in people. Especially in this industry, people think trash. It's just garbage, man. But it's very competitive.
Yeah.
It's very fast paced. It's a lot of things, and so it definitely needs to be a component.
Yeah.
That's the same as your space. Rosil's always going like 237 light year miles per hour. It's crazy how you're just.
But Rocio also gets up. She exercises.
Yeah,
you know?
exercise. I do exercise.
Yeah.
That's a habit I picked up at age 22. Actually, 22 is probably when I went in, but 22. That's like, so I had this.
So before that, you were like a tortita? Or?
No, I wasn't. I always
Never.
been skinny. Yeah, I always
Never.
been skinny.
And she's trying to build. She's not trying
Yeah.
to lose. She's trying
Just
to build
Yeah,
some
trying to
muscle.
build. So I think I mentioned this in a couple of my previous podcasts. I was a troubled child. So I was really rebellious, and I went through a dark stage between ages 19 to 22. That is like Rocio 360. No one would recognize me. Complete different person. I didn't grow up with God. I didn't grow up with God. I didn't believe in God. I never read the Bible. Never touched. Definitely when I was 19, 20, I was not doing anything godly. And now that, a lot older, wiser, when people go use substances or they surround themselves with the people that are doing bad things, those people are also hurt. And they're hurt because they come from parents that have hurt them, come from environments where there's a lot of problems. They come where maybe they're orphanages. They don't have anyone. They have foster parents, and you have so much baggage in you, and because something bad happened to you, you feel like you're not worthy of love. You're not worthy of deserving a better life. You accept being treated a different way because that's all you were ever given.
Yeah.
So for you, that's normal, and you don't know. I guess you don't know light until you get out of that. But now that I see being a bigger person is that parents have so much involvement. If you have children, definitely be involved in your children's life, because you get to see the people they hang out with. If you have influence over that, give your 2 cents. And going to that perspective, I'm sure my aunt, because that's who raised me, had her defeat maybe with me. She probably thought I was going to go down a really bad road, maybe die early. And I know I had my conflict with her when she would tell me stuff, and I was like, oh no, you don't understand, or I don't give an F about what you think. It's my life. And when you're young, you kind of think like you're invincible, right? You're like, until you see that the bad people that you're hanging out with will screw you over, step on you, and not care about you.
Yeah.
1,000%. All right, so just to recap, some information that we dug up. I don't know if you guys realize this, but construction workers have one of the highest suicide rates, according to NIOSH, in the industry and related industries. Substance abuse is twice as high as the national average, while suicide rates among men also are coming in at a very high rate. Depression and anxiety are also high. So what this means is the construction industry is facing a clear, identifiable problem with mental health illness. And we've taken some time and we've posted some resources in our show notes. If you are going through any one of these things, please look them up, look into it. We mentioned some things at the show, pay close attention to it. The reality is you got to ask for help, and the help is there. So we'll do our part to help you. Absolutely love sharing our stories. I hope it made an impact in your life.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. And remember to like, comment, subscribe, and follow the Triangle Hustle podcast on all platforms.
Share the show.
Share the show.